We live in interesting times. Standard of living overall is getting better. General consciousness around food and health is growing. And we've all come to appreciate our protein intake, hydration, how many liters of water per day, supplements, right? So mankind as a race is getting to live longer, stronger, and healthier. But this didn't come easy, right? Our lifestyles, and particularly the manufacturing to support our lifestyle, places a huge toll on the environment around us. Over the last few decades, we've been debating on the right definition of climate change. But I think if you just look at the world around us and feel what is going on, we know that climate change is real. The warnings from scientists for the last few decades is unfortunately real. Barack Obama put this very well. We will be the first generation to feel the effects of climate change and the last generation to have a chance to change it, to do something about this. At String, the company I co-founded, the team that I work with, we are taking this mission very, very seriously. Over the last few years, we have been working very hard to make sustainability market relevant. We have developed and are commercializing next generation ingredients, products that can really provide for the growing healthier lifestyles, but can do so while lowering the environmental toll on the world around us. How are we doing this? Well, actually, what we did was we took a look at the very greenhouse gases that are adding to the global warming, right? And it turns out there is interesting greenhouse gas, methane. Methane is, for those of you not familiar, it actually has 80 times the global warming potential of carbon dioxide, right? A molecule that I'm sure all of us are a lot more familiar with. So methane actually inherently has energy. Today, as mankind, we burn methane and get the heat from it, right? So what we did was we wanted to see if this energy in methane can be actually converted into useful everyday products. And to do this, we turned to the ancient science of fermentation. I'm sure most of us are familiar with fermentation. We use it to make curd at home, we make kimchi, we make alcohol. It is a very ancient tool that mankind has leveraged to make lives better. In fact, for the health conscious ones in the room, I'm sure you know that fermented foods today are growing in popularity because of the interesting health benefits from this process. Now, when you look at fermentation, typically what happens is the raw material, right, the carbon for the fermentation is actually coming from soluble liquid substrates. For example, the lactose in milk, right, or malt if you're making alcohol. So typically these substrates are liquid. So we asked ourselves the question, could fermentation work when the raw material, the carbon, is a gaseous substrate like methane? It turns out it is actually doable. It does require a lot of work, right? And this is what we've been doing. We have been figuring out what are the right kind of microbes that you could use to do this, make this process work. What is the right kind of fermenters that will make this happen very efficiently? And once you have the fermented broth, right, how do you process this? How do you work with this so that it can taste and smell like the products that and function like the products that we are used to today? This is the core of the work that myself and my team have done. We've really leveraged the ancient art of fermentation but we've upgraded it today to a more efficient gas fermentation process. Okay. Now, what are we using this for? It turns out once you have the core process, you can actually make a whole slew of products from methane, starting with protein, right, for nutrition, all the way to peptides for cosmetic products. Let me walk you through what it means for us and what it feels like, right? So using gas fermentation, you can actually convert methane into a brown protein powder that can then be extruded into alternative meat patties, very interesting products. How does this help us? Well, first, it turns out that today, how we grow our protein, whether it's from cow farming or swine, is actually one of the key contributors to greenhouse gases. It's one of the key methane emitters globally. So here what we've done is we've reversed the cycle. We're actually converting methane into protein instead of the other way around. Secondly, now with this process, we're also growing protein vertically. So we can use less land, be a lot more efficient with our water, so that we're actually gearing up better to feed the growing population. And lastly, and very, very importantly, the protein that comes from this process is clean, is vegan, is antibiotic-free, chemical-free, and can really be used to make your next protein-rich morning drink. Another interesting product that you can convert methane into are actually crop inputs for agriculture. Personally, this one is very close to my heart. Turns out that how we grow food today, right, from our rice cultivation, wheat cultivation, these are one of the biggest contributors to global greenhouse gas emission. This is coming not just from methane emission, but also from another very potent gas, nitrous oxide, right? And today, using the core tools that we built, we're able to convert methane into crop inputs. And when you use these crop inputs for, your rice fields, your wheat fields, your horticultural crops like tomatoes, chilies, potatoes, you're actually able to give higher yield per acre to the farmer. But very interestingly, we're also able to reduce the greenhouse gases that are getting emitted from agriculture. So a very interesting solution to build sustainable, climate resilient food systems. Yeah. Now we, as a global community, came together at COP26 last year. We fully acknowledged that maybe there's no plan B and that we need to be doing a lot more to mitigate the impact of climate change. What I've outlined here, right, are some very, very powerful solutions that can really help us get there. That can be the path forward for us to improve how we grow our food, how we get our nourishment, how we live our lives, maybe even how we look good. But for the audience here, I do want to highlight a very fundamental aspect. So if you peel the layers of what I'm talking about here and take it down to first principles, this work that I'm talking about is driven by basic biology, basic math, basic chemistry, things that can be quite boring when you're in school, but actually in reality, a lot of fun. And more importantly, this can be very, very impactful. This can be science that can be actually leveraged tomorrow to transform lives, to create a better tomorrow. Because essentially what we've done here is we've looked at nature, we've looked at what nature has already designed, and just figured out how to use the solutions to make our lives better.